Hey everyone, welcome into this week's edition of the Maconi Setup Shop A Open tutorials. This week we're going to be showcasing the open setup here at the Chicago Street Course, so strap in and let's get to it. Quick explanation as to why. The fixed setup for this car has not changed over the last few times that we've been here. However, the parameters that you can build these setups with has changed pretty drastically. So driving and technique is very similar regardless of what you're on, open or fixed. But they do drive very differently. I have run laps in both the open and the fixed. The open has way more grip and a lot more drive off, where the fixed setup, well, the fixed setup is still the same fixed setup from the last 3 years, so it feels pretty much the exact same. So if you guys would like a refresher on the A fixed tutorial here, you can always try to find those within the Maconi library on YouTube. I think I've done 2, maybe 3 videos with the AFIX stuff here at Chicagoland, so we're going to touch on the open stuff and go through it for those of you that do purchase the open setup. For starters, a couple things to go over here. Adjust your brake bias for comfort. Okay, the way that this setup was uploaded is exactly how Taylor runs it. So the brake bias is favored pretty heavily to the rear. That's just what he likes. If you would like a little more front braking, make sure you change your brake bias so that it fits you properly. Setting up for turn 1, first gear corner, trying to get it slowed down. You're going to grab second, get it in a nice straight line, downshift back to first when you're on braking. And then you're trying to get a straight shot off. As always with every one of these videos, I try to explain, do all your stuff in a straight line, okay? Setting up for this fast right-hander here, I like to be a lane down. I find that it's a lot less bumpy, okay? And with these open setups, the car is a lot lower to the ground. Let me go ahead and have that open there. I forgot to click that at the start. This car is a lot lower to the ground, which means it's going to hit the bumps more aggressively. Very easy to lose control. The very first lap, when the tires are cold, in my opinion, is where you're going to be most susceptible to losing control, especially here. I can't tell you how many times, like, I'm not using the brake. You can use a little bit of brake to set the nose, but I can't tell you how many times setting up for this little carousel here that I've just completely lost it because I hit a bump the wrong way. Okay? It can be frustrating. I know I was pretty frustrated running laps for this because of the amount of times that I was spinning out. That's on me. But yeah, we're going to go through this all in the in-car stuff. Always trying to brake in a straight line, okay? Doing all your braking and shifting in the straightest line possible, and then accelerating, okay? Accelerating is the same thing. If you've got a lot of wheel input and you're trying to accelerate, it's very easy to spin the tires and spin out. Okay, every one of these corners, I'm trying to get the straightest entry possible. I feel like that's where I have the most control, and hopefully that helps you guys as well. A lot of times if you're hustling it way too hard, you find that you've still got wheel input, and then you're trying to set up for the next corner and you've never had time to get straight or collect yourself, okay? I'm obviously not the best at this road course stuff. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I've said it in every video. I'm not the fastest, and that's okay. I take a lot of pride in limiting my mistakes and not giving up any unnecessary time wasted. I'm sure if I was to sit here for a few hours and really practice and grind, I could find some of that speed. This is an auto-generated A-Open session, so the weather is different than what this setup was built for. So realistically, it just takes a little longer. The colder the track, the less grip you're going to have. This is a tire that still very much likes heat, okay? So the hotter the track temp, theoretically, the more grip you're going to have to start. And be careful because these tires do wear a lot more, okay? Lap 1 or 2 is going to be your fastest lap for qualifying, and then you're just going to fall off from there. All right, guys, try to slow it down here and go over a few things. I feel like my entry to turn one, I'm backing it up way too much, which for me is okay because if I try to drive it any deeper, if I get on the brakes too hard or somehow miss my shift, I'm going in the wall. So again, everything that I can do to limit mistakes and give up unnecessary time wasted is kind of what I go for. For road courses like this, where you don't have cautions or anything like that, it's pure pace. I feel like it's more important to give up a little bit of time to make sure that you don't give up too much time, if that makes sense. I would much rather give up a tenth here or there instead of giving up seconds. Okay. Um, for anybody who does buy these setups, okay, make sure you check the notes tab when you get the setup. Okay. Taylor always leaves a lot of descriptive information. Um, a lot of helpful information. Okay, I was reading a lot of it before I even started doing this, which helped me for gearing before I even started running laps. Okay, so I felt like I was a little more up to speed than I would have been had I not read those. Um, and then a lot of it is just feel. Okay, it's a tough course. The fixed setup doesn't bounce around nearly as much as this. Okay, because it's a lot higher off the ground, so it handles the bumps better. But as you get laps on these tires, the car does feel better. Okay, I will say that I did do a 5 or 6 lap run earlier, and it got better. My times were pretty consistent, and the car started to feel a lot better. But a lot of it has to do with being full fuel and low ride heights. I do want to point out real quick, setting up for this corner, I wanted to make a big note of this. I don't use references very often, right? So for me, it's hard to gauge a braking zone like this. But I find that as soon as my center windshield brace here, as soon as this covers the 3 and 4 marker, that's when I like to get on the brakes. Okay, I feel like that's just far enough back. It's not perfect, but I don't really know what else to use to know when to slow down. It's more of a feel thing. And again, these are not corners that you want to overdrive. Okay, there's not a lot of room for error. It's a very tight street course. It's very bumpy. If the car does step out, you're hoping that you're really close to a wall so that the back end catches it a little bit and helps straighten you out. Otherwise, once you get in a lazy spin, you're pretty much gone. Okay, and it's very frustrating. And I think you're going to see a lot of people losing control both in the open and the fixed stuff just simply because of the bumps. The other thing I wanted to point out too is shifting. These bumps, you can miss a shift. I can't tell you how many times I was trying to grab another gear and I hit a bump at the wrong time, and as I blip and shift, it just stays in first or second. Okay, a lot more so going from first to second, but a couple times I've tried to go from second to first and hit a bump the wrong way, and I'm still in second gear, and now my engine braking's off. Now I'm trying to really slow down, and mistakes happen. Just little things like that to point out and try to prepare you guys for and be ready for. Other than that, again, a lot of it comes down to feel. I touched on the brake bias. If you find that you're not getting enough stopping power, dial the brakes forward. Okay, especially if you're loose on entry as well. Just dial the brakes forward, and hopefully that'll take care of that issue for you guys. I ran this exactly how it is, exactly how you buy it. So, with that being said, hopefully this video is helpful enough. Okay, I've said it a million times. I'm not the best road course racer. If you're looking for speed tips, I'm probably not the best guy. But in terms of getting around these places, I feel like I'm good enough to get around and hold my own. It's a hard place to pass. So really, you're just trying to limit your mistakes and not take yourself out by an unforced error. All right, guys, that'll just about do it for this video. If you find that this video was helpful, please consider leaving a like. Any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys want to discuss or touch on, please leave a comment down below and I will get to them throughout the week. And as always, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can see these videos every Monday when they're posted on the Maconi YouTube page. All right, guys, best of luck this week, and we'll see you on the track.